Welcome to the J. Scott Outdoors podcast. We are on location here in Sonora, Mexico, and I'm sitting around the table here with some Goulds turkey hunters. I got Tim Phillips, I got Malin Stolzfus. Is that how you say it, Malin?
Stolzfus.
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 Close enough.
Foos, like foosball.
Yeah.
Foos, okay.
Close enough.
And Chris Rowe Hunting Resources. And Tim, you're from Jackson, Mississippi.
Yes.
What do you think about these Goulds compared to your Easterns? And you just completed your Royal Slam. It's
amazing. Amazing. Great birds to hunt. Very vocal. Very callable.
What did you think the first time you saw the white tail fans in full strut?
Oh, they're beautiful.
Yeah. You know, I try and tell people how interactive these birds are, and it's really hard to describe until you actually come and see it. And you know, you guys seeing some of the places where I've set up with the video camera, like tonight, your bird, Tim, I was probably 6 steps from your decoy, and the bird never saw me. And different birds came in multiple times, and we're walking around, and I think these turkeys are just a lot more tolerable.
They are very tolerable. I hadn't took a shot further than 10 steps.
Oh yeah,
a week.
Yeah. No, and that was another thing. You know, it's a lot of the shots are a lot closer than what you're used to, and I have a lot of hunters say, you know, as soon as they get a clear shot, they take it. But when they come to Goulds, I kind of have to say, let them do their thing a little bit. They're probably going to hang around longer than what you're used to.
No, definitely. They definitely stay as long as you want them to stay, almost. Yeah.
What do you think, Malin? You come all the way from Pennsylvania and new to turkey hunting the last 4 or 5 years, and but a turkey nut. And what's your thoughts?
Pretty much, it's a great experience for anybody that's really into turkey hunting. It's kind of hard to describe unless you actually come down and experience it. From the difference in a Goulds and an Eastern, just their reaction. You know they're still turkeys, but you know where you can set up and just the interaction with them is just completely different than an Eastern turkey hunt. It's so much fun, for sure.
Especially some of those pressured birds that you guys, both of you, from Mississippi and Pennsylvania. Only place I ever hunted I could be selective.
Yeah, I want to say I don't know how many we had, but I mean the one morning, Jackie shot her bird the first afternoon. And then we went out the next. You shot your first bird the first, so we got 2 in the first afternoon. And I mean, we got to the ranch at 12:30 and had birds down by 5 o'clock.
That's right.
And then Hunter had roosted some birds, and we went in the next morning, set up between 2 groups of birds, had them come off the roost, and just had, I think, 5 toms.
There's 5 toms and 2 jakes, 2 hens.
At what, like 12 yards?
Yeah, 10 steps, or probably 10 or 12 steps. For an hour, probably.
Yeah. And you guys elected, you know, just because we had plenty of time to hunt, you just elected to keep hunting and decided not to shoot. It's almost like if you shoot in that circumstance, you almost ruin the moment.
And that's right. That's right.
And I mean, you know, it's crazy. Jackie's first bird, the first afternoon, I mean, literally we walked down the road, saw strut marks, like try a call. You hit the call and a bird gobbled right away.
Yeah, 5 minutes, bird is down.
I want to ask Jackie on here. Come in here. Come join us. Miss Jackie got her double Royal Slam on this trip. It's great to have you. Nice to meet you. I was so surprised. We had to dive in the brush. I mean, we literally had. Were you thinking this is crazy? Because it was like wisps of mesquite behind us. And you're probably used to big hardwoods and putting your back to it.
That's right.
That bird came right in and never even looked at us.
No, I think she shot him at 9 steps.
Yeah, she did a good job staying calm. That 12 gauge did a number on your shoulder, didn't it?
Sure did.
First thing she asked me is, "You got a 20 gauge here?" I said, "Oops, no. Got a 12. She's got a bruise to prove it."
Unmanaged.
So when you booked the hunt, you told me, you said, "Now I got something to tell you. I just want you to know I'm a little bit of a game hog, And I have to say, you did pretty darn good. You were a sharpshooter for sure. You got anything to say for yourself?
He doesn't give me another chance if I miss, so I have to hit it the first time.
You got to be accurate.
That's right.
You know what? One thing I thought was so cool, your second bird, Jackie, was last night when we went and set up in that field and had that bird come in, and he came in, kind of circled us, came from the top, Tim was calling, and he kind of came all the way around, and then he finally ended up coming in, and you know, you were looking at the bird, we were videoing the bird, and it was perfect, and then he kind of just walked off. And you know, when that happens, you're like, did we just miss our opportunity? Well, we were able to slide down like 150 yards and reset up on the bird, and Tim, you switched to your box call.
Yeah.
And I mean, that perfect lane, because it was thick on the right with the hill and thick brush, and that bird just came straight running.
Yeah.
And then he'd hit strut, and then he'd go out of strut and run again, stop strut. It was awesome.
Yeah. Another great hunt.
Yeah, for sure. So, Malin, your first bird, you and Chris teamed up, and you guys went out in the afternoon.
We did.
Yeah, the same night you taled about that first night with these guys. So
I mean, we got here at 12:30 or 1 o'clock, and you guys were off and running. And tell me kind of how you guys went and what your perception was of where you were at.
We went up more up in the mountains, and Mario, which is the caretaker of the property, and the cook took us up, and when we were headed to a lake that's up in the mountains, and when we were almost at the lake, he stops and came running back and started pointing and saying, "There's turkeys out."
So in other words, he pulled up into the spot.
Oh yeah, it's
with the machine running, like, I should have parked back.
Yeah, grab your gun. There's turkeys right there.
And you're like, nah,
it doesn't quite work that way.
How about we just kind of like ease past, let them settle down, let's get a figure out.
There's definitely a communication barrier when it's like, no, don't pull into the spot and go, here it is, you know. And that's basically what happened, right?
Well, they weren't. I mean, he was just going to go up and show us how to get to that lake, but the way the road is situated, there's you've got to go around the edge of the lake. In order to do that, you got to go up and over a steep, just a small but steep hill. And so he was just trying to climb up and over that hill, and he got to the top, and the birds were standing right in the road, right there. So I mean, literally, there was no warning. He come over the hill, and there's 5 gobblers standing in the road looking at him. He's like, "Oh, birds!" I'm like, yeah, well, they're already running up in the oak brush. They're gone.
Yeah. So what did you guys do? Kind of, what was your game plan then after that? Obviously, those birds boogied off.
Yeah. So we just we heard birds gobbling farther up the mountain. So we kind of headed, after them, took a side road to the left, and we found a water line that was bleeding water out. So we set up there.
Is there turkey tracks on it?
There were turkey tracks going up to it, yes.
Yeah, the road, and that's the thing, is when we get in the mountains we're talking about, I mean, you go from the valley floor and the low foothills, and I mean, these things just flat go straight up. I mean, it's crazy.
It gets thicker and thicker as you go.
Thicker and thicker, the higher you go, and the more incised all those ridges are. So it's not like you've got one big ridge here, valley, big ridge. I mean, you've got ridge, swale, there's just a pile of different little ridges that just, I mean,
it's like a maze.
It is. There's a maze of them up in there, and so because it's so vertical, because it's so thick, they are using these roads as their primary travel corridors and strut zones. And so we got up above where we spooked those birds. Figured we'd move past them a couple hundred yards, park, and then literally. Well, we figured exactly. We'd go past them a few hundred yards, sit, be quiet, let them settle, and we go back after them. Well, literally, we turn the machine off. He's up the hill. We're like, okay, if you want to play, we'll play. So we start going after him. And that's when we saw that second little road that cut off to the side. I mean, I figured he's above us. We've got what it looked like to us as, first time up there, it looked like there was a bench up there. I said, well, it's about on the same elevation, so why don't we climb up to that steeper and steep? But I said, why don't we climb up there?
Slide.
Yeah, exactly. Get up on the same elevation because it'll be easier to call him. Well, yeah, we get up there. It's just another knife ridge. But, like Malin said, that right there in the little saddle, they had cracked open one of their water lines that they used to pump the cattle tanks and everything else. Well, I guarantee they cracked it just to bleed out, just bleed air and air bubbles and stuff. Well, it was just kind of spewing out water, so it was almost like a makeshift spring. Mm-hmm. And we thought, it's hot, it's dry, it's windy. Let's set up here and let's give it a try. So
what we did, got the decoy set up, and then we were calling for a while. He would answer, but then after a while, he just
clammed up.
Shut up, yeah.
Either shut up or went over,
went down in where we couldn't hear him, which could easily have happened. So we just ended up going back down, and then as we're going, walking back toward the lake, Chris was like, "There's a turkey."
So we figured, well, the one higher either is ignoring us or he dropped off and went on the backside of one of these little ridges. So I said, well, let's go back down to where those birds were in the road originally. They were there for some reason, so let's go down and see what it is. And we're just walking down the road, talking, like right down the middle of the road, talking, and all of a sudden I look up and here's this mature bird, moseying, just
coming
walking right up the road. And so both of us, he's got his shotgun over his shoulder, I've got the camera over, we've got nothing. We're just like in the middle of the road. This bird walks to 20 yards?
Yep. Just something like that, 20 yards, and then
finally he's like, I don't know what these things are, and just turns and slips into the brush. And that's when Malin had to make a choice. I looked at Malin, I was like, do you want to kill this bird? And he's like, what? I'm like, do you want to kill this bird? He's like, well, I said, if you want to kill this bird, we're gonna put our butts on the ground right now. I'm gonna make a couple calls. He's gonna step out. I said he's a really good. He had decent spurs. He had a great beard.
It's a nice bird.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where we're like, first 30 minutes of the hunt. You know what I mean? And we're sitting in the middle of the road.
So what happened?
Go ahead. I'll let you go.
Well, so called a little bit, and then after a while, Chris was like, "Hey, there's more turkeys. There's 2 strutters."
Not after a little bit.
It was like almost right.
He's like, well, I guess let's give him a try. So we didn't move. We just boom, middle of the road, just sat on our butts. Now you've got the Dave Smith decoys, that strutter, so we've got real turkey fans. Well, all the decoy, and that's the other part about this is funny. We carried all the decoys in, so we both look like Santa Claus with the Christmas bag.
You filled up the whole road.
Oh my gosh, I guarantee you from the turkey standpoint, with our darker, we probably look like cows. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? We're just these big, fat, round things in the middle of the road because we got all the decoys. So we just hit the ground. Well, I've got the turkey fan in my hand. And so we just hit the ground and I start calling. Well, 30 seconds. It wasn't even, literally 30 seconds. I'm looking for the bird that stepped in the brush, and all of a sudden motion catches my eye. I look down the road, and now it's a strutter. Here comes it, flat out, just
full fan.
Big honking
coming
strutter.
in hot.
Oh, yeah, here he comes. And as soon as we see him, as soon as he I know he's a little distracted, I just simply held up the fan in my hand, and about that time, that's when the second strutter appeared behind him. But now the first strutter,
now it's a race.
Yeah, he comes just running up the hill.
As soon as he saw the fan, he took off, running toward Chris.
So then you were faced with a choice of you had 2 birds, you had 2 tags in your pocket. Do I double right off the bat? Was that ever a consideration?
No. No, he had already said, he's like, no, I'm gonna shoot one and then have a good hunt the rest.
And then the other, and so you ended up shooting the closest one to you.
We did, yeah. This one was at 20 yards enclosed and headed right toward us. So the other one was another 20, 30 yards back. So we knew this bird's either going to be right on top of us and either spook or jump on Chris.
Yeah,
because he was holding the fan. So yeah, he just stuck his head up and dropped it.
Yeah, so. That's the thing, because we patterned the shotgun prior and shot it at 20 yards. And 20 yards, that pattern was no bigger than a dinner plate, a paper plate. So at that point, either we need to shoot this bird now, or wait for the second bird and run the risk this bird is going to be in our laps.
And putt and
putt and doing whatever, or spook. Or if he did want to try to shoot it now, his pattern's going to be about the size of a golf ball.
Yeah.
So no, but I mean we are remiss in saying also why I got excited about telling you to shoot that first bird, because this bird had an absolute paintbrush of a beard.
Oh, it's a whopper.
Most of the time when and you've got a lot more experience obviously than I do, but most of the Goulds on average, I'd say their beards are about the diameter of your finger. You know what I mean? They're good. They're long beards, but they're just generally a little
not
thinner.
The paintbrushes you see of the Easterns or the Rios for sure.
Yeah, and so this bird came up, and as soon as he started running at me,
it was just dangling.
Oh, it was just swinging, and I was like, oh my gosh, that is an absolute giant beard. I'm like, yeah, that's a good bird. I mean, we know he's got a full fan, big honking monster full fan, and he's got this big paintbrush. Oh, put him on the ground. Put him on the ground. Yeah, just
so that's your completed your Royal Slam.
That was Royal Slam number 1.
That's awesome.
Yes,
that's awesome. And then you were able to complete Royal Slam number 2.
We were
next morning.
next morning.
You didn't waste much time.
No.
I got a question for you. What's your thoughts on Oscillated? Have you entertained it, or what are you thinking?
I don't think so. Not at this point, anyway. I mean, obviously it crossed my mind, but I'd rather hunt. I'd rather do another Miriam's hunt or something like that. It's just a different kind of hunt, and it just doesn't intrigue me like.
They're kind of growing on me. They're beautiful birds.
They are.
At first, I was thinking, if they don't gobble, if they're
right,
if they're not, they don't even act like a turkey in some ways, but they're kind of growing on me.
Well, the thing is I think there's some better outfits out there now that are providing these hunts, and they're doing a better job at really. I think
making a better experience.
Making a better experience, because originally when I was familiar with it, it was go in the jungle.
Yeah, limb shoot them.
Oh yeah, shoot them off the limb or what. And a lot of the birds that I was seeing, I don't know what time of year it was, but their fans were incomplete. They were all jumbled up. From we were talking about molting earlier. They weren't completely molted. They just looked raggedy. And it was just you going in the jungle and you sniper and shooting and you killed something. I was like, I've got no desire for that. Yeah. But now I'm starting to see some of these outfits coming out there where they're calling these birds, or they're sitting in strut zones,
hunting those sorghum fields and more agriculture, and they figured out a little bit of how to use electronic calls, I think, to get them to come to a call
and full molt. So I mean, these things look like a cross between a peacock and a turkey. I mean, they're fanned out like a turkey, but they're the coloration of a peacock.
And
they're
even
awesome.
more vibrant. Just amazing. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to watch. And now that I know you, kind of watch you just progress and keep going as a turkey hunter. It's fun to see the passion and how you love it. I can just see you're just gung ho. Tonight you came with us with Jackie and Tim for Tim's final bird, and got to witness that show, and it's just for me, it never gets old. I mean, every single time my heart's beating, like I'm not even pulling the trigger, and I'm over there. It's just awesome.
It's a rush.
I mean,
to sum it up in a simple way, it's just a rush.
And the thing that I think that's cool about Goulds turkey, that's quite a bit different than a lot of places, is you get interactions every session. So in other words, morning, evening, it's not like you have a total dud. Not saying you can't have a total dud, but you seem like you're always into turkey. Would you agree with that, Jackie?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
That was one of the first things when we went up there. I mean, this was 4:00 in the afternoon, and around home it's pretty rare to hear a gobble at 4:00. It happens, but it's rare.
Yeah.
But we go up there, see those birds, and then we hear a gobble just like that.
Yeah.
Like, all right, let's get started.
And you sit here and you look across the board on the experiences. I mean, just from us, you got birds charging at you, sitting in the middle of the road, just holding a turkey fan. Next day, we set the decoys up. We have a hen come in and beat the piss out of another hen decoy. And then we had
we had a hen today up by that same lake come and just lay down.
Yeah.
Just
hang out.
Take a
lay
nap.
down right next to us, like 10 yards from them.
And you know, Jay, you and I have said that. I mean, and I'm not saying this for all eastern turkey hunters, I'm not at all. But a lot of folks that are hunting, especially pressured areas, you know, if you guys don't even use decoys
No.
at all.
I mean, Tim said even the first day, he's like, I ain't toting around no decoy.
Yeah,
Literally like that.
I mean, he's like,
well, you'll be a decoy toter by the time this is over.
We keep joking.
Last night he's carrying decoys. Now, not saying he will at home, but he was, you know, like it's when in Rome, do what the Romans do.
But the thing is you know, same thing with Rios. I mean, goodness gracious, I've sat with turkeys in the decoys for 10 hours. I mean, I think when you have, and I think that maybe it has to do with pressure, you know, hunter pressure and education of the birds. But, you know, when you get to use quality decoys, and when you tell your hunters to do not shoot this out, and, you know, let them come in and work the decoys and let them engage it, because, oh my gosh, there's so many. Yeah. The fight that we had where the two one escorts him right off the stinking map.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the first morning when we went out, we had those 5 toms come in. I think we had a Jake, couple hens, and a strutter, and by the time that whole party left, there wasn't a single decoy standing.
Exactly.
You know, they stood on them, tried to mate every one of them. I mean, come back, the DSC strutter's been laying there for, 10 minutes. A gobbler goes back over and goes, I'll peck on you some more. It's like, you had at the other ranch, remember we had you had that AVNX decoy, and that gobbler started dragging.
It dragged it across the ground. It was it would grab it by the wattle, either the snoot or the wattle, and just started dragging. Just manhandling it, dragging it.
I do have to ask you, I can't end this podcast without asking you about an unbelievable clip of video on Malin on your second bird, where 2 gobblers lock up, start fighting, and then one, Chris, I'll let you take it from here, reminded me of like when I was 12 and my mom got mad at me and called me by my full name and grabbed me by the ear and pulled me outside.
I mean, it was a gobbler fight, but I mean, goodness gracious, it was funny because the first bird. So anyway, to set the stage, we go up there. We go back to where he killed the bird the night before. Gets out because we roosted them. We know where they're roosted, so we set up thinking they're going to come back towards the lake. No, same thing. Gobbles, hits the ground, and shuts up. We're like, all right, we need to go after him. So we start climbing the mountain. Jackie knows about that mountain. Yeah. Jackie likes that.
She wants to go that
mountain. So we start climbing up there, and I mean, we're just climbing up there. And we get way up, and finally, long story short, we finally get one to gobble at us. We set up, and because we're climbing the stinking mountain, we decided we're only going to take the DSD Jake and 2 hens.
1 hen.
1 hen, okay. We went, we were like, we are not...
Minimalist.
Yeah, we are not trudging up these, giant strutters and everything. So we set so literally this bird gobbles and he seems close, so we just slam the Jake in the ground and then we just go get set up. Well, we get the gobbler to come in and he steps again. We're set up in the road because that's the best place to see everything. The bird comes out and he sits and he struts and he starts at about 30-40 yards from the decoy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then slowly, timidly just works his way, strutting back and forth across the road. Zigzagging, spitting and drumming, but he just does not want to come to the Jake. But he's slowly inching closer. Well, as he's crawling closer, all of a sudden, here come 2 hens and a strutter, another bird, coming down the road from even higher. Well, as soon as the second bird sees the Jake decoy, he just runs past the hens, past the gobbler that's in the road already, and just comes and just barrels over.
Just pounces on the decoy.
Pounds it. Well, as soon as he attacks the Jake decoy, the first bird that we thought was timid and shy comes smoking in. Now they're both picking on the Jake. Of course, same thing, knock it out, boom, beat it up. But as soon as they beat up on the Jake, all of a sudden they just went at each other, and now they're locked up, and one's got they're pushing each other around.
And the hens are just standing there, like, not even looking.
It's like if they were wearing a watch.
Yeah.
If they were wearing a watch, they'd be like, "All right, let's just sit here," and they just look at their watch.
They have
and
a
like,
dumb look on their face, just like whatever.
Boys will be boys. Let them finish it up, you know. Well, we assume. Oh, so what Jay's talking about. So all of a sudden, one grabs the other, literally in his beak, right by the ear hole, grabs the flesh around his ear, and literally starts to march this bird up the road, just dragging him, pushing him, dragging him up there, just like your mom would do. Grab your earlobe and say, "Young man, you're coming with me." You know, just literally takes the bird back up the road into the brush, out of sight, gone. And the two hens are like, "Did they just leave us? Where the heck did they just?" And so both of us are sitting there going, what just happened? What just happened?
Both birds are gone.
So we're sitting there watching, and all of a sudden, and I told him, I said, "Well, we're just going to wait here because the hens just kind of moved off into the brush."
Yeah, they didn't go far.
I said, "This gobbler lost his hens, and whoever won that fight is going to come back here and looking for his hens." And we're assuming that it was the aggressive bird that came in second. Well, sure enough, here comes a gobbler right out of where they disappeared into. He's all full strut, all confident. At first, we're thinking it's the second bird, and then we're looking at binoculars, and we're like, "Wait a minute." The bird, the first bird, the timid bird, had a very characteristic beard, and both of us looked at each other like, "That's the first bird." Sure enough, he comes marching back down there. He won. He won that whole thing. He didn't want to attack the Jake, but I think his attitude was, "Dude, I don't want to fight you. But if I have to, I'm going to whoop your butt. So you just need to move out." So we're sitting there watching the first bird, and he does the exact same thing. He doesn't come into the decoy. And I guess I forgot to say, so when they disappeared and everybody left, I went out, picked the Jake decoy up, and I just moved it. So it was a different visual image when they came back in. And same thing, he comes down to like 20 yards of the decoy, doesn't want to engage it. Sure enough, all of a sudden, out of the same spot, here comes the second bird. This time, he ain't cocky. He's not strutting. He's not doing anything. He's like, I just kind of want to. If I stand? Yeah, I just want to come and kind of maybe see where my hens went. And he literally walks down the road, gets 10, 20 yards from the other gobbler. He's like, "Nope," and he just takes his wide berth, cuts into the brush. But he's literally doing a button hook circle right around us. But same thing. Malin, your first bird had relatively small spurs, just bumps, which is not uncharacteristic. I mean, a lot of Goulds will have that. But when they were fighting, we could see that there was one bird that had really, really good spurs. And this bird he had a great beard as well, good thick beard. He had a big full fan, and we knew he had good spurs. So that's where I was, here you go. He's got all three. If you want him, take him. And so as soon as that head poked out in the brush, it was over. It was over.
Congratulations on your double Royal Slam. That's awesome. And then we finished up, and we'll finish this podcast on Tim's hunt tonight. Chris and Mario had done some midday scouting and found a couple birds that the Cowboys were talking about. And we went in there, and Malin went with us, and Hunter Haynes, and we snuck in there. And Tim, you did some calling and had that big bird up on the ridge with one hen, and back and forth, and he was just up there strutting. You could see him on the top. He wouldn't come down, and then birds started coming from everywhere.
Like a 2-year-old bird came in with 3 Jakes, worked the decoys, showed out a little bit.
They walked between us.
Yes.
It was amazing.
Yes. They hung around, left. We called them back up. And they left again, and was about to decide to do something different. And all of a sudden, you hear birds coming, and 2 longbeards walked 3 feet from us.
Yeah. So Hunter and I were like 10 yards to your left, and we were about 6 or 7 yards from the decoy. And Malin were 6 or 7 yards from the decoy, not in range, not in line of sight, but or in gun sight, but then they walked right between us.
That's right.
That was amazing.
Then one of the birds took control, went to the decoy, worked it, beat it up pretty good. While those 2 are out there, here comes another bird. Mm-hmm. You hear him drumming, walks up on the little mound that y'all set up on, gets to the top, looks down, sees y'all, and comes right back down.
And he was making a little whine.
Yeah.
It wasn't a purr, it was like a cool little whine. That was cool. And then I thought was so cool. So for like 4 or 5 minutes, literally the strutter was just standing there and really not moving. And lights fading, and you didn't want to shoot him in strut, so you started going. And then he started going, hey boy, hey boy, hey, and then finally you go, hey boy, come out of strut, boy. I started laughing, and he never did, and you finally shot him.
Yeah, I just finally shot him anyway. Yeah, I tried to whistle, kiss at him, and everything else to make him just quit strutting and just run his neck up.
Yeah,
so I figured I'd talk to him anyway.
When they get locked in like that, man,
It's
they are
just crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But the whole time there's other birds behind us yelping,
crazy.
Jake's yelping, turkeys gobbling. It was an awesome afternoon. Awesome.
Well, it's been fun hanging with all you guys. I'm glad we had a successful trip, and I'm
Great
glad
hunt.
the 3 of you were able to complete your double Royal Slams, and wish you the best of success on your other hunts. I know you guys have got more turkey hunts coming, and it's just been fun. I'm glad you guys decided to book with us, and glad we were able to give you a good hunt. And
thanks a lot.
Great trip.
Great
Thanks
trip.
to you
Great
guys.
trip. Thanks so
You-
much.
Highly recommend it.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was. It's always fun when things work out, and great accommodations here. Mario did good cooking for us, and we'll have a safe drive back to the border tomorrow. And hopefully, you guys can get back and get to work and get to doing all the rest of the stuff you guys do. So,
Thank you.
Congratulations, guys.
yeah,
Thank
congrats.
you.
Awesome, beautiful birds.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening, and thanks for tuning in. We'll hope to have some more podcasts from location down here in Sonora, Mexico. Until then, God bless.